guess what? My favorite color is blue. I really like rap music. And here's some other like interesting facts about me. It was like something you would tell someone when you're meeting them for the first time ever.
Well, but that was the problem, right? I mean, this was their first dinner together like that. I mean, it was like a first
it was
date.
Comical. Welcome back to another episode of A Fine Podcast with your hosts, Amanda and
Joseph. Yeah, welcome back, everyone. We are here to talk fantasy suites.
The Bachelor Fantasy Suites this week.
Yes, and all the excitement it brought.
What has been the most fun part about your week this week?
It's been a fine week.
Really?
Yes.
Did you order some fine packages this week?
I did.
Tell the fine people what kind of fine packages you ordered this week.
I got a toy golf set for my child.
Yes, it's so much fun. Asher's first golf set.
Yeah, we'll see if he picks it up or not.
Well, he really got into what is the bag that holds the clubs?
A golf bag?
I didn't know if there was a specific name for it.
No.
But it's really cute. There's a toddler golf bag, golf clubs, balls, and he likes putting the balls in the bag and the clubs in the bag, everything in the bag.
Yes, and the bag is plastic. It's not a real bag. It's like a plastic toy that's resembles a bag.
Yes.
But yes, it is. There he is, learning to just smack the ball with the tool. And
yeah, it's really funny to see him hit the toy golf ball with the club.
It's very uncoordinated.
But he at least gets the concept, which is really fun.
Yeah, hopefully it'll improve over time.
Yes, but his current obsession is throwing every single toy out of his pen. So,
Yeah.
including his golf balls after a little bit of usage.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah. How's your week been?
Oh, my week's been pretty good. We've been doing Whole Foods delivery. We love it. So that's been a highlight of my week.
Not having to drive to go shopping.
Yeah, it's like now we don't have to drive ever if we don't want to. We can get Costco 2-day delivery on some items. We can get Whole Foods delivery now with Amazon. So it's been pretty nice. You mentioned, oh no, we need some popcorn. And we just did a couple clicks and it arrived on our doorstep in the morning.
Yeah, indeed. What a time to be alive.
It's pretty exciting stuff here. You say popcorn, I say, okay, it'll be here in just one quick sleep.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing what we have now.
It's like Santa when he brings presents in the morning.
Yeah, food Santa.
Food Santa. Whole Food Santa. But Whole Foods has some pretty good options. We ordered Fritos, but it's organic corn chips, which was really good. We had them for the first time today with some Amy's chili, and it was delicious. And then Whole Foods also has this lemonade, but it's like water with a little bit of flavor in it and stevia and monk fruit sugar, and it's delicious. I love it. We order that all the time.
Yeah, it is good.
Woo, 0 calories. But no junk in the ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our favorite snack to watch with The Bachelor has been popcorn, and we also like joy rides, which are healthy versions of, what would you call it? Sour candies.
Yeah, I mean, it's an equivalent to Sour Patch Kids or Sour Patch Punch straws and
Yeah.
all of that type of stuff.
So good ingredients and taste delicious. We would highly recommend that too. And then also, of course, we've been obsessed with vegan Kit Kats and the plant-based Reese's cups, which are delicious. Those are always a hit when you're watching The Bachelor. So grab your snacks for our podcast review and let's recap this grand episode of Fantasy Suites together.
Yes, indeed. Here we go.
So first, we need to mention they are in the Dominican Republic now.
Yes, of course we are always in some tropical island
or faraway place.
Yeah, well, I mean for like the fantasy.
Oh, I thought you just meant in general. We're all over the place.
Well,
which we
yes,
have
I mean
been.
right, yes, yeah, that's also a true statement. But just as generally, the whole trend of fantasy suite and finale is always on some remote island that's got
It's
a
true.
great view. But yeah, we are set in the Dominican Republic, which Grant has played basketball here
A few years
previously.
ago. Yeah.
So he is no stranger to the DR, and
Which we also learn Grant's grandmother's from here. Right?
yes, yeah. Which he mentioned she just passed away shortly, not too long ago.
Which I just made the connection. Didn't they do a rest in peace moment for her towards the beginning of this series?
Yeah, I think the very first episode.
Yeah, so that all came back to me when he mentioned that. Because I think she was in the first episode, right? Wishing Grant well and saying goodbye, and then she passed away.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he had something to say regarding like the finale being in Dominican Republic, maybe in like
Honor
of his grandmother or something.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because I mean that would have been nice, but I don't know if that would have been like too late if they've already planned out where they're traveling and everything.
Right.
But yeah, it would have been nice if they allowed something like that.
Well, it's nice that he did end up here, no matter how it happened. So
yeah, regardless.
It's special. And him and Jesse are playing basketball together at the beginning of our episode and having some guy chat.
Yes, we are back to them playing a little basketball and just having one-on-one. Jesse's kind of talking to Grant, seeing how he's feeling coming into fantasy suite and just where his head's at and how he's feeling with the ladies. And Grant, just as he's still really, not really sure. I mean, he's got some favorites and some not so favorites.
Could it be Zoe? Yeah.
But obviously, just kind of him enjoying the time a little before he has to start having his one-on-ones and making decisions.
So his first one-on-one is with Juliana, but before Juliana meets with Grant, she first meets with Daisy from Joey's season. And she's there to give Juliana advice. And Juliana opens up to Daisy about her past relationship where she was cheated on time and time again. And she says, because of this, I'm really nervous about everything, and especially like the overnight dates that Grant's going on with the other women. And Daisy encourages her to open up, express her feelings, tell Grant about her past relationship and get that out there. And Daisy said she opened up and she felt really good about opening up when she was on The Bachelor. And she doesn't regret anything. So good advice from Daisy there.
Yeah, I mean, it was, we see, I feel like they almost had pretty good picks for each of the women with who came back onto the show. Because I feel like with all of them, we kind of see, someone who kind of had a similar experience.
Which,
when they were
let's talk about this. So Daisy was runner-up on Joey's season. Does that mean Juliana's runner-up coming up? And then Litia got the person who won her season. Does that mean Litia's winning? And then Zoe got the person who got the least amount of time on her season.
Yeah, I mean that was
Thought that was bizarre.
kind of funny. But wasn't Zoe's too from Joey's season?
Yes, Rachel. So
Yeah, she was the one who lost in Fantasy Suite, right?
yeah, I think she got third place, but she definitely spent the least amount of time with him. And then we'll get to Zoe, but
Right.
yeah.
But it was you had two from Joey. That's why. Well, when they showed her, I was like, oh, I wonder if they'll have like Kelsey then, since they're picking everyone from Joey's season. But then they pick someone from, I guess, Katie's season, who I'm unfamiliar with, but or Zach's season. Katie was the person, but yeah, no, it was kind of interesting to see how the people that they picked and ended up like the end result that they got too was almost kind of like maybe is this maybe how it ends in his season, but no, I think our Daisy had good. I mean, was able to kind of help Juliana clear her head and have some advice going forward, and kind of just get ready for the date with Grant and just have a good time and make it to the next round.
Yeah, and to be honest with Grant and to be open. Good advice. So Grant and Juliana start off riding ATVs together. And then Juliana does open up about her past boyfriend to Grant and how the many times that he cheated on her has really damaged her. And Grant cries with her while she's telling the story and says he has things to work on too. Nobody comes in this perfect and he wants to get through things together. So they have a really sweet moment together.
Yeah, I mean, this was, we see in the Talking Heads, was the one thing that I think Juliana wanted, and kind of like with Daisy's conversation was, I think this was kind of the last barrier that Juliana needed to talk about or discuss with Grant, that before they've pretty much talked about all the major things that they needed to, and just to open that side of her and to see she's been kind of the more playful, fun, but not so serious or deep. And she kind of explains that this is wise because of this past relationship. Really, really did a number on her, and but she does, but she opens up during dinner about it, and I was kind of shocked at how all the tears from Grant was listening to the story. I was kind of, I mean, it really seems like he was quite invested in it, and really cared cared to listen to it. I mean, he mentioned that in his talking head, but it really showed.
Yeah,
So
you can tell he truly connected with her on this and truly cared for what she had to say.
yeah, yeah, and I think this was good because I think this is kind of what the thing they needed to talk about to help grow and continue and allow them to kind of take it to the next step, and just get a little bit deeper.
Definitely. So Grant gives Juliana a picture of the two of them at hometowns, which was really nice. It's them walking into Juliana's house with the boxes of cannolis and the pizzas, and so it was a nice picture for her to hang on to. And he tells her that he's falling in love with her, and then they both decide to go to the fantasy suite together, and they get to know each other a little bit better, and they wake up in the morning together, and then they talk about how they opened up and bonded at night.
Yeah, I mean, I think that picture was a big validation for Juliana, as far as, well, I guess, I mean, for her, I mean, we saw Parisha get her rocks, and then she got booted. That
Then she was
did not
told to
get
kick rocks after that.
So I don't know if it's a great, but no, I think at this stage in the game, I mean,
What? You think it could be a parting picture?
no, I don't think so. I was thinking of it. It was really nice that he gave a gift, and I was like, well, yeah, but then Parisha got one, and then she got kicked off that night. But I think at this stage in the game, something like that, to hold on to that photo, I do think it would mean a lot for him to hold on to that and to give it to her. I guess it's only been 1 week, really. since Hometown, because it hasn't been that long. But I still think if you didn't have that much of a connection, you wouldn't be holding on to something like that. So
Yeah, a picture is different than rocks.
yeah, but so no, I think their connection is still strong and is still going very well. I think they're moving along just fine, and she's still a top contender. And
I mean,
well,
it
I
did
guess
seem like they got along together. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean they've always felt very. I mean they feel very natural to me. They don't seem to be forcing anything or doing anything that they're just there for there or whatever. I think it is feels very natural and good intentions from both sides.
And it seems like they probably just hung out and talked a majority of the night to get to know each other better since they don't get that much time in the dates and everything.
Yeah, well, I think it was constructive. I mean, I think they've probably got to talk about a lot more. Mainly too. I'm sure they probably had more discussions about her previous boyfriend and whatnot, and I think that was probably one of the things that Grant really wanted to figure out. So no, I think they had the discussions they needed to and address what they needed to address, and yeah, I think it will. I mean, it just it went well. I think what they needed to talk about was done.
Yeah, so it seemed to go well. And now Grant is off to his next date with Zoe. So, first, we see that Zoe meets with Rachel from Joey's season and they bond over getting the least amount of time with their people. And then Rachel mentions this first, and Zoe says, "Oh, you got the least amount of time? Well, I haven't even gotten a date yet." And Rachel looked so surprised at this. She was like, oh, you haven't even gone out with him on a date yet, and you're here in the top three?" And you could see like she was almost trying to like compose herself after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably because she knew there's no way that she's gonna make it past this, or how she's already here. So how did she even make it this far without having one?
Seriously. Everybody's stunned, Rachel. All of us. We're all stunned. So Rachel then composes herself.
Yeah. Well, this is where it's like, I mean, I think everyone, just watching this has the sense to see that there just was. I don't know. He just doesn't show that much interest. I mean, he does, but compared to you see the levels with Juliana and Litia, obviously it's going to be one of them. Like, there's just no way that
This
it
is
was
why I
Zoe.
hate this
It
formula that you have to drag a third person into this because obviously it looks like he was forced.
Well, this is where the show has to come, because ultimately it's show first, relationship after. But uh,
But
and that's
then
where it
do
is.
something extra special with the top two or something for a couple weeks. I don't know. But to drag someone along,
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe he really did feel like it, but I mean, it just looks like it looks like the show is required to have three people at this point in the stage, and he just brought her because that was his strongest connection. But I mean, there was no way that she would actually make it all the way. It was a third was required, and which I feel bad for her, because to have to just even go there and spend the time to do this just to get let down.
don't you think Alex or Carolina they would have made a better contender in the top part of the competition because at least the two of them received dates from Grant and seemed to have a romantic chemistry with Grant somewhat.
Alex, I think so. Carolina, I don't know. I would say Alex would have been a better third than Carolina, but
We at least saw chemistry with him and Carolina at some point before everything went downhill. But I remember us putting her in the top four. towards the beginning of
Yeah, I
this.
mean, she was. I think there was just, I don't know. I felt like their relationship just started turning a little like toxic almost. It just, I don't know. It wasn't, and I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just purely because of all the other girls, and if it was like in a natural setting where he wasn't having all these different women to choose from, it probably could have been normal and fine.
It's just like Zoe just seemed like, oh, let me take my friend and keep her going. Or not, they don't even look like friends at some points. But yeah.
Well, I think they were at least amicable,
They are, but
but it wasn't. It
it's
was
not
definitely
even
never romantic or deep. Yeah,
or a
yeah.
best friend level either.
I think.
They don't even know each other.
Well, and that's what made this kind of really weird too.
So Rachel encourages Zoe to ask questions and be confident and enjoy her time. Probably because Rachel could sense that her time is limited.
Yeah, not much hope.
So then Grant and Zoe meet each other and they go to a couples yoga no talking event, which I find this really interesting that the first date Grant takes Zoe on is a date where they can't even talk.
Yeah, this was. I mean, this just almost felt like, he really was just. I don't know. Maybe it was even a wild say, but just to maybe, I don't know, put her off, to maybe not let the breakup be that as hard. Maybe she could develop, or not develop, but just, I don't know, be a little upset about things and then kind of be more prepared, or
So
well,
let's go on this silent date where we both don't get to know each other at all. And that'll help later.
it was strange. I mean, Grant talked, like, oh, well, we just have this connection, this unspoken connection
It's so
of how
unspoken
we are. But
that we have to go on this date where we don't speak again.
yeah, but we haven't had a one-on-one date
And
to
now we're
even
going on a
talk.
date where we don't talk.
Yeah.
She really got gypped out of out of this. This is
Y-
crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it was, she had her talking head of, well, this will be great. I hope we'll do something just kind of romantic, not really so activious or adventurous and whatnot. Just to really, I think, just to actually talk and have a conversation and learn more about each other.
And then it's the exact opposite. And she says she doesn't like yoga either. So
Yeah, which she said he really wasn't even big into either. So I really don't understand why this was chosen. I guess he picked it because he doesn't know much about her since he hasn't had any conversations. So he doesn't know what would be a good date for her to to go on with.
so this date seemed to go okay. I mean, it was awkward at first and then they got in sync with each other and it was fine. And then they got some more time together having dinner. And this is when Grant just goes crazy and he starts spouting off things about himself and trying to fit in as many things as possible because the two of them don't know each other at all. And he says, "Hey, yeah. So guess what? My favorite color is blue. I really like rap music. And here's some other like interesting facts about me." It was like something you would tell someone when you're meeting them for the first time ever.
Well, but that was the problem, right? I mean, this was their first dinner together like that. I mean, it was
I
like
mean,
a
it
first
was
date.
comical. That's how much they don't know each other. Is they're just rattling off random facts about each other.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And then Zoe goes, "Do you know what my favorite color is, Grant?" And he goes, I don't know. Is it blue too, like me? Do we both like blue?" And she says, "Well, it's actually teal."
yeah, yeah. I mean, it just. I don't know. I mean, I think looking back, or if she is watching this, I think watching it back, she's probably seeing now, like, wow, this really was not deep at all. Especially comparing her dinner conversation compared to Latia's or
Oh my
Juliana's. She's
gosh.
gonna be like, wow, I really was just.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, I think she's really gonna see, man, I was just left on home base while they're in outer space.
Embarrassing.
About this.
Especially Litia. which we will get to.
Yeah.
But they managed to share some fun facts like favorite colors. And then Zoe says, I really don't know you at all, Grant. And then he opens up a little bit about his family life and some of his background. And then they agree that their timelines match up for engagement length and kids and family. Then they decide to go to the fantasy suite together. And they both bond over them wanting to have a better family life and a better future than what they had growing up. And that was it.
Yeah. I mean, do I think they could, work in normal dating circumstances? Yeah, probably. I think they've got a lot of common ground and things, and they do get along, and I think it would kind of be a slow burn thing. But just for this setting, no, it's just not going to make it.
And also, there just wasn't an instant connection between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, which there's nothing wrong with that in normal, but in this setting, that's never really going to work, or it's just going to be very tough to make it work.
I mean, I think they do have in common, they both had some unfortunate events happen in their childhood that they are looking to have a better future for themselves for. And I mean, that's a very good bonding thing to have in common. But other than that, I don't know if I romantically would ever see them together.
Yeah, I mean, that's why
no matter how much time they got.
Yeah, and maybe so. I would say, I mean, if anything, I would say maybe it would take a couple dates before, get the ball really rolling.
But they're so far behind that it's.
Yeah, I mean, they're very amicable right now. Maybe it could turn into something romantic, but it would take a long time, I think. And for the 13 episodes of this, it would never happen. But, maybe in the real world, it could, but nonetheless, I mean, it doesn't really matter because he's built these better connections anyway. With, I'm just saying, if it was like them and none of the other women were involved, and yeah, I could see it, working in that scenario. But
I don't know. We'd have to watch a series that lasted like a year for.
Yeah, which nothing wrong with that. I mean,
I don't know. I don't see it, but yeah. I mean, sure, anything is possible, right?
Yeah.
If you just believe.
Just put in the effort, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, but yeah, I mean, yeah, this whole thing was, it really just felt like, he was required a third person, and she just ended up being the crossfire in this.
I wonder what they talked about all night long in the fantasy suite.
Well, I guess they had quite a bit. I mean,
maybe they
really
just
don't
went
know
to
anything
sleep.
about each other.
Maybe they just went to sleep.
Yeah.
And they said, we don't have a connection.
Grant's like, I'm already picking the other two. You're already lost, so we can just hang out.
We can just hang
You're
out.
a lost cause already.
Do you want the guest room? We can just hang out and watch TV alone. You're a lost cause already. So let's get into Litia and Grant. First, Litia meets with Katie from Zach's season, and Katie talks about how Zach told her that he got intimate on another date and how she hated hearing this. But Litia is also worried about possibly hearing about Grant with the other women, and Katie's advice is to tell Grant, I don't want to hear about the other women from you. Don't tell me what happens with the other women until later.
Right. Well, because for Katie, it really then ruined her mental space for continuing their date. And it was already eating Litia. And I mean, she even brings it up during their their date, but that she is nervous about or anxious about all that.
Well, she's encouraged you by Katie.
Yeah, I mean, Katie mentions to just flat out say from the get go, hey, let's not talk about them. Which, yeah, I think that's great because I would think there's no point in doing that. All it's going to do is just hurt yourself and your ability to have a good time and really see if your relationship is going to work. So I would think talking about that is just a waste of time, or I don't know. I really wouldn't see the benefit of
Yeah,
that.
but what if it was a deal breaker for her? If he was intimate with the other women, then she wouldn't want to date him anymore.
Well, yeah, that's true. So,
But I guess it wasn't, or she just would hope that Grant would do the right thing and or just not tell her about anything. Which that's weird. I don't know. I find the whole concept
I mean,
very strange.
yes, yeah, yeah. This whole thing is weird, but
So Grant and Litia end up going zip lining, which Litia is not into. She's scared, nervous, doesn't want to do it. I think she made a comment like, I'm not an adventurous person.
yeah, she was kind of kind of in the same boat with Zoe, and I think just wanted something easygoing and really just to hang out and talk and do that, which they did after the zip lining. But
They
yeah, the
always have
zip
to do
lining
these
part.
like random activities.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I would almost think, maybe he should know, especially between like Julie. I feel like Juliana's was the only one that had a good time in the activity part. But
Well, besides when the ATV stopped and she was trying to fix her hair, and that's when Grant said, "You don't have to be insecure about the way you look."
yeah, well, she's really worried about the makeup and the hair and yeah, but yeah, I mean,
That did look like the most fun date.
she definitely seemed to enjoy it the most out of the the three
Yeah.
activities that were performed. I would think as Grant, especially knowing, with Juliana and Litia, right? You clearly have these deep connections with them. Like you should probably have an idea of like what would be a great ideal for a date be. Like ziplining, she's maybe I don't know, maybe she just hasn't said something,
Or
but
maybe the producers dictate everything. They're like,
yeah, that's
"You're going to do
true.
this, you're going to do this." And
Yeah, I wonder how much if Grant actually gets to
does
come
he
up
get a
with the
say?
ideas. I imagine he'd have to say something,
Right.
or at least producers say, "Hey, you've got these 5 activities.
Pick
Choose one of
yeah,
them," right?
right.
And I would kind of hope you'd think like, "Hey, this person's more, likes these things. Let's try to pick our date, something related to this, so that it would be, a little more going for the two of you." But I don't know,
Right.
maybe not. But
Well, they do it, and then they get to have some quality time over dinner together where Grant shares that his dad is currently in rehab in New Jersey. He's battling addiction, and Latia says, "Oh, well, I'm open to moving. Did I let you know that last time? I'm not married to Utah where my whole family is. I'm open to moving wherever. So do you want to move to New York to be near your dad?" And then Grant was like, uh but I just thought it was like so quick. She like jumped on that like super quick to say, "Why don't we just move to New York?"
yeah, I was kind of stunned. I figured she would have been a little more hesitant, or I don't know, maybe not so. Maybe trying to stay a little bit closer to her family, especially since their family's so large. It seems like they would probably all want to be relatively close, but maybe it's a thing too where it would be like they're in New York for New Jersey for a couple of years or something, and then they kind of move back out there
Yeah.
to be a little bit more in proximity to them.
Like not a forever thing, but she would be willing to go where he wants to go for the time
Right, you
being.
do it for like the rehab period or whatnot, or
Or do you think she was saying this to definitely seal the deal? Like, I will go where, I mean, not that she wouldn't do it, but
I think it. I think it does because ultimately, right? I mean, at the end of this, you're gonna have to figure out where you're gonna live, and
so maybe she's bending to move there. Or she,
yeah,
that's
that
something
could.
she's sacrificing to make this relationship.
Yeah, or maybe she's wanted to maybe go out there or live in New York or
Well, true,
something,
yeah,
and
maybe.
you know, with now that he'd have family, there'd be a way to do it or something. But
But I think you said something too, like how, or maybe Grant's father lives in New Jersey because, like, how temporary is the rehab?
yeah, I mean, it may not be just for the rehab. I mean, based on like context, it sounded like Grant was mainly talking about the rehab, but I mean, he grew up in New Jersey, right? So I
Hmm.
think
So his
maybe his
family's
dad's probably
probably
just always lived there.
right.
But so yeah, maybe he is there permanently. But it sounds like at least during the rehab process, he wants to be there for him. So
Yeah. So they talk about their timeline for having kids again, and Litia says she really wants to have kids soon. She's 31 and she envisions this happening very soon, but she would agree with him on a timeline that they both thought was good. And then Grant says that her timeline is a little bit faster than what he had envisioned.
yeah, so this is kind of where I think you have the first where they're not totally seeing eye to eye on something. Well, as far as like their future goes, with the timeline of things, she does seem more ready to get a family going, and he wants to kind of have a couple years for themselves first, and then start the family. So yeah, this would kind of be. I don't know how much of a issue this would be for Grant.
Yeah. I think just it's against originally what he thought. Maybe he's not totally against it because he does mention quite a bit how much he wants to start a family. So maybe he'd be willing to go a little bit faster on that timeline for her. But yeah, we don't know if this is like scaring him off a little bit or if he's okay with it.
Yeah, I can't really gauge how whether it's going to be like a big thing. I do think it could probably be one of the big deciding factors of him choosing between Juliana or Litia.
That and the Mormonism, if that comes up, or if something else pops up about that
Yeah,
to where he's
yeah,
questioning it more.
yeah, yeah. That's.
That didn't come up at all this time, but
I imagine there might maybe be a little bit more about this stuff probably in finals because I'm sure he's probably going to bring up the major barriers that would be between the two of them. What. So I guess we'll see if that happens or not. But yeah, this definitely seems like this idea of this timeline is gonna linger in his mind and definitely be a factor in deciding things.
yeah, I agree with that. So Latia tells Grant what she discussed with Katie, that she wants to focus on them and not hear about the others. And then Latia also says physical intimacy is not on the table for her, and Grant respects that. And then Grant tells Latia he loves her. He actually said, I love you.
Yeah, he says the L word. Yeah, I was surprised he did that because I thought normally they shouldn't be saying that until they pick
Well,
their.
it sounds like he totally picked her already with this.
I mean, it does. Yeah, he really seemed to open up heavily during the dinner part, and
Yes, so Grant also says that Latia is a once in a lifetime woman for him, and he feels like they belong together.
yeah, I mean, he really did kind of almost go all in with her during this period.
It
So
sounds like he picked her already.
yeah,
And then could you imagine if he ends up picking Juliana in the end and then she goes back and watches this conversation with him and Latia and how deep this was?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, either way. Well, yeah.
That's crazy. Unless there were deeper conversations going on with Juliana that we didn't see.
I mean, we saw he didn't flat out say "I love you," but he did say he's falling in love with you with Juliana,
Yes.
and so I would say they're still fairly neck and neck. I mean, it does seem like probably Lydia's. Well, I would say probably at this moment, if he had to choose, I guess it probably would be Litia. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he was really kind of swooned by her, or just really head over heels at this moment.
Yes. So Litia agrees to spend more time together in the fantasy suites, and they have a big, beautiful breakfast together, which you pointed out they walked away from. How could you walk away from such ripe fruit?
Yeah, he. Well, and then he actually said he made it, which I was.
I think he was joking.
Yeah, I was just
Totally
sad
joking.
because I was. I mean, I figured it was because, but anyway, I mean, it was a very elaborate breakfast, but yeah, it was a little strange because it was like, well, it was like, do you want to walk me out? And I was like,
They
you
left
didn't even eat the breakfast,
big, beautiful plates
so
left there.
I don't know, but obviously that's the theme with all the meals, right? I mean, the dinners they always have these 5-star dinner meals handed to them, and then they never seem to be eaten. So,
Unless like the cameras go off and then they're
or
like
they
wolfing
do,
it down.
yeah, they do all the filming, and then when cameras cut off,
But then
then
it's
they
got to be
eat. But
stone cold at the end of that.
yeah, I don't know, maybe there's a heater right above them that's
Maybe.
keeping it warm.
Or they like toss it in the microwave, a big fancy meal.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like fake food
Oh yeah,
that
that's
they put in front of them.
yeah, it's just prop food.
Yeah, decoy. So in an interview, Grant says that he loves Litia, but he has one more woman that he is falling for and feelings that he could get to love too. So right there, he's flat out admitting he's picking Litia in this current moment. He loves her and he has another woman he's getting to put feelings of love for. So he's not yet that as advanced with Juliana in this current moment.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Freddie did mention, yeah, this where he did kind of flat out put Litia ahead.
And didn't he say, should I just pick Litia now? I have a quote there that he said that.
Yeah, there was a talking head where he did have that, which maybe, I mean,
What is this? Is it trying to throw us off or what?
it could. I mean, obviously, it's in the moment, right? I mean, I would feel like,
Either way, he feels so 100% one person right now, and then that all could change it within one episode.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it does seem like it's Litia at this point. They're really. How could it be anyone else? Because it really all signs point to Litia. All roads lead to Litia, but
This is crazy what happened in this episode, how far advanced we saw this.
yeah, it was a little strange. I'm surprised the producers or even showed that or let it go that far, because I would have almost thought, hey, maybe we need to have a little more mystery to it.
Yeah.
Because it really did. I mean, yeah, I'm sure everyone would probably guess Litia by the end of after this episode. But
Well, things could change. Maybe they showed more of that because
yeah, I mean, there could be more time, and then maybe something, one of those timeline things or whatever. But there still could be something that happens in the finale. But
their connection seems very advanced right now.
yeah,
So it's time for roses. The first rose.
yes, is Litia, which she's been like the first. I think at least the last 4 episodes now, 4 or 5 episodes.
There's no mystery at all.
She's always been first.
Number one.
Would you like to mix it up a little?
Shouldn't he at least do
I don't
that?
know. I guess. Well, actually, you know what? I would actually say no. I'd probably actually thinking about it more. I just go ahead and say if she is, everything's gone so well. You kind of know she's gonna be picked. So maybe you pick her because everyone already knows. Like, yeah, obviously she's making it. So let's just get her out of the way.
What would you think if you were Juliana and every rose ceremony, Litia gets the rose before you? I know that's probably not supposed to mean anything, but
Oh yeah, I'm sure totally. I would think if she's always been first. I would think there probably is. There has to be some a little bit of a mental thing of where you know is she really just the one ahead. Like, is there even a chance for me at this point,
right.
or am I just wasting
Or
time, or
maybe they
what?
just think, oh, it's just random. But Litia randomly got picked first 5 times
Yeah,
in a row. I think they should put whoever Grant is choosing, their names on little sheets of paper. And then before he gives out the rose, he has to randomly pull from a hat who the rose goes to. So it's not so blatantly obvious who's the favorite.
I only wonder. I mean, I would think right, like going into it. I don't. There wasn't much mystery for the three, but right, if he had said, obviously, well, not obviously, but I had Juliana and Latia as Zoe was definitely going to get eliminated. But if he had picked Juliana first, then obviously it was like, well, it's Latia. That's it. But at the same time, too, there was the one preview, which from the first episode, the preview they gave from the very first episode, there's the picture or there's the scene of Juliana and Grant jumping in the water. And, I was like, oh, that's totally a finale scene. And we haven't seen it yet, and it is, but that was Juliana. And then you picked Latia. It's like, well, yeah, of course it's Juliana because it's not Zoe jumping in the
Oh,
water with
right.
him.
Yeah, there's no
In
mystery at
that
all.
scene. But so that was a giveaway. But
Yeah, the jumping in the water told everything. The longer you didn't see that scene happen, the more you knew Juliana was in the
I knew it had to be
final two.
either like a fantasy suite or a finale thing, just because, like I said, it's always a remote island that they're in for at this stage, at this point in the stage. But
What do you think about my paper idea? Everything's random. You pull from a hat. The order.
yeah, you could do that. I don't know. I guess they're not given, right? They just go with what their heart tells them to pick. And
Right.
he
If my
picks
heart told
Latia.
me Litia 5 times in a row and then it's looking so obvious that I have a second.
Yeah,
Or
put it in a hat.
you pick Litia every time for like 5 times in a row and then you pick Juliana at the end. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not making sense.
Maybe
Anyway.
it's just go in alphabetical order. So it's
Yes, every time you should go in alphabetical order. I mean,
that would be so hard for him in the beginning.
Oh yeah. Well, he'd need like a list of names.
He'd be going like
somewhere.
A, B, C, D. He'd be like singing the song. At least I would be doing
He
that.
needs a headpiece, and for them to just tell the names to him.
Yeah.
On the first night, how in the world does he remember everybody's name? There's no way, right? Someone has to be whispering to him or
Yeah.
telling him something.
Well, you showed me that video where Jesse himself, the host, messed up and said one of the women's name that was incorrect. And it was actually one of the other women he thought it was.
And he called the name of someone he was eliminating.
Yeah. And then they had to make this big ordeal. The previous host had to be like, so sorry that there's been one woman called who was not supposed to get a rose.
Yeah.
But
And then they felt bad for the women who got called. So they said to her, you can stick around for tonight. And she goes, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens then. Because she was supposed to be eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's a real confidence boost. That makes me want to
That's like a slap in the face. I wonder if she went home the next time.
Yeah. Or it's like, I'm going to prove you wrong and I'm going to be the one.
No, then she'll just stay until the finale to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
But the second rose went to Juliana. And Goodbye, Zoe.
Yeah, so now finally, all the women that got eliminated by Zoe being last, as we saw in Women Tell All, it is finally Zoe's turn to,
Get eliminated.
yes, be sent home on her way.
So she kind of looks relieved after this. And, I would be too.
Yeah, I mean, she was obviously upset because they sat down and she did start to tear up and I mean, I felt really bad for her just because this really was just she had no shot and it was just really a waste of her time and emotions to have to go through this. And you didn't even see. I mean, Grant didn't even look like super super upset.
He was probably relieved. He's like, thank goodness this whole ordeal is ending.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost think yes because it's at least now she doesn't have to go through the hurdles or these ropes anymore of this. But yeah, I don't know. It is just sad to spend all that time and I don't and to not even at least seem like you had a shot. I could kind of understand if he had like a really deeper connection with her and he really was stuck between three people, but where it was like you're stuck between two and the third one you're really not. It's just like why? But I don't know. That's clearly that's the overall theme of this episode.
Yes. It was very predictable. We had to watch
Poor
this
Zoe.
painfully. And poor Zoe, seriously. But Grant was probably forced to do this.
Well, yeah,
too,
I'm not saying.
so-
Yeah, it's definitely not Grant's fault.
Not Grant's fault, but
just the way the show goes.
The nature
but
of the show.
show business.
That's show business. So then we see Grant's parents and sister, and Grant's parents are in the same room after 7 years of divorce, which I thought how touching for them to get together in the same room as one another for their son.
Yeah, on TV too.
Yeah.
I was very surprised that they would have agreed to do that.
Well, you can see how much they love him, and that was really, really nice, I thought.
Yeah, it just really felt like the father has a sense to be there now for Grant. So yeah, I mean, it was nice that they did this for him.
No, I think Grant's father definitely realizes some of the mistakes that he made, and he's trying to get better for himself currently and for his family. And so it was just beautiful to see him there, see his mom there. And then we see more touching moments with them coming up next week. So the episode kind of ended there where we see them all together. But next week, Grant's parents will meet the women, and we see that Grant loves Litia. I think he says that again. Litia's ready to have kids. They're talking about that again. He feels confused, and he said it's not normal to go into an engagement not knowing who your person is. And the producers are telling him he has to go out now and make a decision.
Yeah, and Grant finishes by saying, "Tune in to my demise."
Yeah.
Which I thought, wow,
this is torturous, isn't it?
What a couple of words to say. I've never heard any of the bachelors or bachelorettes say something to that effect. So
He's really split between the two of them at the end of next week's episode, it looks like.
yeah, I mean, I think it really because I think there's almost a little bit in each that he, if he could kind of rearrange to make like
Which is ridiculous.
I mean, maybe not so that, but I just think there's, for lack of a better term, there's pros and cons to each one. He's got a list of between the two of them, and there's just little nuances to each how he envisions life with them that he's just kind of stuck which route he wants to take. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how the finals go. I mean, clearly, based on the thing where Jesse says we've got both of them coming up, who do I send first? Clearly, both of their dates go well. It's not like something catastrophic happens, and it's well, all right. Well, now I know it's one over the other, but they clearly both go well, and he's really has no idea leading up to pretty much the final moments.
I think he must make a even deeper connection with Juliana next week, which will make things harder.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've always been saying Juliana pretty much since the beginning.
Well, now what's your prediction? Who's number 1 and who's number 2?
I don't know. I feel like I can't just.
This is really hard now.
After watching this one, I do want to say Litia, but I don't know. I've been saying Juliana since the beginning.
I'm going to stick with Juliana, even though it looks like from this latest episode, it's like he's already married Litia.
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to do her dirty, and I don't want to be like Rose.
You did me dirty.
I'm not gonna be like Rose and turn on her. I've been saying her since the beginning. I still believe in her, and I think she has what it takes to go all the way. So I'm not turning back on my decision now.
No, I really do think it will end up being Juliana, because I think he's going to get scared about maybe how intense the Litia thing is so fast, or something is going to happen there.
I do think the timeline of things, or potentially the Mormonism, could, I think, sway him to Juliana. There hasn't really been, from what I remember, really anything major like that in potentially happening with him and Juliana. Like, there hasn't seemed like there's any potential future obstacle, or just something they don't really line up with.
Yeah, it seems like they've addressed everything.
So that's why I would think maybe I would still lean towards her, but also too, I can't turn back now.
I mean, you could if this episode really swayed you. You could.
I can't. I mean, I've been saying it for
I think it's a trick. I think it is a trick. But I mean, clearly he's very
I mean, I think
torn.
I think they've just always. I don't know. There's just something about them. I think that they've just always had something since day one. But yeah, no, I mean, I do think he is very, very split. I mean, it's going to be like a hair of a difference of what seems to be his decision. Or I don't know. Maybe there is the scene where the mom says, "Well, can't you just walk away from both of them, or could you walk away?" So I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know if that would actually.
Or I mean, maybe if he cannot decide who he's going to get down on a knee and propose to, maybe he does decide, hey, I don't want to propose to either one of you right now because the decision's so close, and that's absolutely not right.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe something of, will you? Well, I don't know. Will you date me for? Can I date you two for a little bit longer?
Maybe he picks one to date.
Yeah.
Or can I date you both a little bit longer?
I don't
so I can figure this out.
I don't think you pick one just to date. I think at that point, if you're gonna pick one of them, then I mean, you probably should.
All right. So can I date you both?
Go to engagement. Yeah.
Who's gonna agree to that?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse always has, like, stay tuned for the biggest finale, or the most shocking finale of Bachelor history, or whatever. So I don't know.
Does he say that every time?
I feel like it, yeah. Or I don't know, usually.
But this is going to be the most shocking one yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the most shocking one yet because he walks away from both people.
I don't think that, because I think he'll pick one or the other, but
maybe since it's so neck and neck, that the right thing to do is just walk away.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I can think, but then I would think, like, man, the girls would probably think, what a wimp or something, or drag us all through this just to say no to both of us. But I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I don't really know what will. I mean, I think he'll pick Juliana, but I don't know. I guess we'll see how it plays out, though. Maybe something crazy will happen.
We will see on the shocking 3-hour finale next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 hours. Woo!
Yeah. It's a long one.
We'll be making our popcorn and snacks for that.
Yeah, that's true. Because, yeah, it's going to take a while.
Yeah. We need to have like tiers, like, or the first hour we have popcorn, the second hour we have chocolate, the third hour. Surprise.
Yeah. The most shocking thing yet.
The most shocking thing yet. So we hope you'll get your popcorn ready and tune into the finale so then you can tune into our recap.
Yes, we will see what drama unfolds next week.
Tune in for Grant's demise.
Yeah, really. Those some big words.
Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode of A Fine Podcast.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out our social medias and like and subscribe if you haven't already and you really enjoy us.
Yes, we would love to hear what you think too, so leave us a comment. And we're looking forward to next week.
Yeah, tell us who you think Grant's going to pick.
Is it Litia? Is it Juliana?
Team Juliana.
We will see you next week.
Ciao.
Bye.